Now watch this. Sit here and seriously watch this and tell me you don't want to play. You're in a 200-foot tall mech. You're shooting Uzis, shotguns, and throwing grenades. I cannot think of another game that allows me to do this. Badass cutscenes and some amazing music. There is a lot to love about this game. The sound effects are also on point. Your shots sound effective, the explosions sound powerful, everything has a weight to it. You feel like a badass playing this game. That's one of my favorite parts about it. And it wraps it all up in a Neo-Tokyo themed anime-style mech adventure. I don't think games get more Japanese than this. Well, I do believe that's enough fanfare for now. Let's get into the actual game itself. This is the title screen. It's worthy noting, actually, that this game not only supports the arcade stick, the rumble pack, VGA, but also regular controllers and mouse and keyboard. One thing you might pretty quickly notice is the fact that most menus are actually in English. Now, the problem is the options are not. Now, given that there are a few options that do matter, Dreamcast Translation Station has actually done us the favor of translating this game for us. Here is that translation for you. Now, you can actually use this as a quick reference tool, or you could go to the link in the description, which will provide you with the actual image file you can download for any time you need it. You can even print it out. No one's stopping you. Just as a side note, so if you're a programmer that's interested in translating Dreamcast games, please join this group. They need you. Also, if you're a translator, they need you as well. And now we have the other half of the game. Now, this is a part that gets a lot of people, but here's the thing. We got voice acting. The characters are very expressive, there's a lot of pictures in the background. It's kind of like, before you could read, you just looked at picture books. That's this. Now, each section of the game is divided into episodes. Each episode has partly this, and then partly the fighting. So during each episode, you're going to find there's a bit of dialogue, and then you get back to the action. Speaking of action, the PC version is actually a hentai game. There's some of that left over. Now, there's also some kind of investigation going on, or we're in trouble for something. I found this magazine. This guy is asking me questions. It's what I figured out based on zero Japanese knowledge. There are also times where you have to answer multiple choice questions. Now, given they're in Japanese, if you do not understand Japanese, just know that whichever lady you'd like to pick, just remember what her name looks like. It's at the top bar whenever she speaks, and just go with that each time, and you'll wind up with the right one. Now I'm going to save you the hassle of getting stuck really quick. There's a part where you have to access a PC. Literally all you have to do is click each option once, and then a little bar shows up at the bottom that allows you to select and exit. So. This is a screen you get right before you go out to fight. Now the reason for this is you get to prepare your weapons. You actually have over 60 unlockable weapons that you can get, and that includes moves as well. Whether it be different kind of guns or different attacks, it's pretty amazing the amount of customization you can actually do. There are 4 rows. Those 4 rows are contextual, so the attack you perform is based on what you're doing during that attack, whether you're leaving your enemy or going towards. Then you have your 3 rows. Those 3 rows are based on 3 buttons on the Dreamcast controller, so it depends on what you're hitting and what you're doing while you're hitting it, depending on what attack you use. It is mind-blowing the amount of customization in this. Well, that one's no good. That's more I like it. Reliable grenades. The other thing I'm a really big fan of is this game actually uses real guns. So when you choose a move that has a shotgun, you're actually taking out a shotgun and blasting them in the face with it. It just feels badass. And that's not even going into all the kicks and uppercuts and punches, and you can even throw guys 100 feet in the air and slam them down on the ground. Luckily, there's this practice mode where you can actually test out all these moves to see what works best for you. Sliding out like a badass with some Uzis. The other part of the story is brought to you by top-down cutscenes in 2D. I love these. This is probably my favorite part because it makes it feel and look a bit more like an adventure, like you're exploring certain areas and really kind of getting a feel of the battle space before you actually fight in it. There's always some kind of alarm letting you know shit went tits up. Typically a good cue that there's going to be a battle very soon. But sometimes you're just walking around, just checking it all out. And sometimes you find yourself on a roof with a need to change a billboard. Change that billboard and make it say Steppenwolf. Yeah, I guess they're big fans. Now we're at the real part of the game. This is what everybody came for. These are your bros. They've got your back and they know how to make an entrance. Best part is, when the cutscene's up, they're still fighting alongside of you. Not that you'll notice them much with everything going on, it gets pretty crazy, but if you actually target what they're targeting, you wind up destroying the enemies a lot quicker. You'll notice there are bars assigned to each character in the bottom left corner. Those are actually, when they go red, it's a cooldown period, so you have to wait until it refreshes so you can actually use your moves again. Now, the more combos you actually strap together, the more that move will actually upgrade when you finish the battle, allowing it to require less of a cooldown period the more it levels up. Above the cooldown bar is actually your health bar, so you can keep in mind how long you have to live. Then on the right of the screen you actually have the enemy's health bars, so you can keep in mind how long they have till they die. You also have a little tiny little meter to tell you when you can use your force crash, which is that move right there. Anytime it goes all anime and then you do a move, that's your force crash. And these are all those level ups and upgrades that you've earned because of the way that you battled. This game is awesome. When you get the chance to play it, you will realize how little you care about the actual Japanese dialogue and how much fun you're actually going to have customizing your robot and unlocking new moves and beating the crap out of anything that comes your way. It is a fantastic game with a ton of replay value, especially after you beat it the first time. You can skip through all the text, so it really is worth picking up. $60 is probably the most I'd pay for it. That's how much I paid for my copy. But just keep in mind, it's really good, it's really fun to play, and if you gotta burn it, do what you need, try it out. I will now leave you with some uninterrupted gameplay. Please enjoy. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, like it. If you want more, subscribe. DreamcastHub.com also sells t-shirts. Use promo code Baldr for 10% off a Dreamcast t-shirt. And if you haven't seen our review for Elemental Gimmick Gear, that's in the top left. Just give it a click.